I like the pause for effect. And now the chase. There is not another scene like that in any of the NCAA championships.
That is one of my favorite races and favorite moments of the races and memories of running at the NCAAs. This moment right here, and then obviously the finish.
And it's such chaos, and no one at this point, no one is hurting at all. Everyone feels great,
right?
And then when we get to the bottom of this hill here at about 800 meters, that's when the lactic acid is going to start kicking in, and so people are going to realize they've made some mistakes.
Yeah, and we heard time and time again yesterday that the coaches are really concerned about running within yourself, knowing what you've done all season long, and don't run above your head. Don't do something that you've never done before.
Yeah, you need to have absolute confidence in yourself to trust your plan and know that you're running the right pace for you. We see Hilda Lemngole from Florida running ahead of her former teammate Doris Lemngole of Alabama. We've seen Hilda do this a number of times, both at pre-nats and at the SEC championship. She likes to get out hard and then sort of settle in.
And both West Virginia runners, you saw Kaylee McCabe up there and Joy Nocutt. So that's a pretty good one, too, for the Mountaineers that they bring to this race.
Well, and I like what Shalane Flanagan said. You have to see where you want to finish. That's what I always thought of when I was racing, is be where you want to be. Maybe not in the perfect position right now, but you have to be able to see that. We cannot depend on people coming back to us. So getting out hard, establishing where you want to be is a smart move early on.
Yeah, it's a little different story in the men's race with 10K, but for the women's race for 6K, it's going to be over in the blink of an eye. I mean, it might not feel like it when you're in the middle and you're hurting, but
goes by fast.
You don't have a lot of time to make up.
Take a look at the entire field of 31 teams that are here. New Mexico strong, Providence is out there. NC State, I don't know that you completely discount them. They showed really well in the regionals. They had a great showing there. Arkansas, Toledo, the MAC champ, is in there. Lipscomb back again. That's a really strong squad. Harvard comes through. No Maya Ramsden, although we will see her at the Bowerman's Award presentation. Their great 1,500-meter runner and mile runner. We'll see there December 19th. And there's Hilda Lemngole, who, like Flomita Ascol the year before her, transferred away from Alabama, and went over to Florida. And there's Doris Lemngole, who very much will be a factor, runner-up last year, steeplechase champion, outdoors. Well, because sure, John, they don't run it indoors, but set the collegiate record there as well. And so those two teammates, I think before this thing is out, will be shoulder to shoulder to duke this thing out.
And they're starting to reel Hilda back in, and I think we're going to have to wait a little bit to see the decisive break. It's pretty hard to run away from the very beginning, although Parker Valby did do it last year.
She tried to do it twice. She really did it twice, and there was only one person that managed to get her in 22. That was Caitlin Toohey, who again was kind enough to join us on our pregame show here, and up that hill. Right, that time it's not too bad, right? At a K, you're okay there.
But this is the hill we're going to hit with 1K to go that could prove decisive the second time that we go through it.
So they go through a K there, you see. Boys, scrim goer from Georgetown's there, Hannah Gapes, who's had a great year as NC State kind of sort of recalibrates what they are and who's coming in. Laurel Wynn, SEC runner, running in this meet for the third time. Been there, grad student now at Ole Miss down in Oxford.
And these team scores, I mean, it's tempting to try to interpret them at this point, but
yeah.
I mean, look at this pack. Each second is 25 places, so it's going to change a lot. I think we'll have a better sense of where the race is shaping up at 2K.
Well, there's a lot of thoughts going on right now. You're trying to get into the race, but as you said, 6K goes by fast. But this is where, if you are going for that team championship, you got to know where your teams are. You got to know where your same bibs are, all of that. So making sure that you are in that position to see your teammates is so critical. But this backstretch here, it's obviously, look at the crowd. It's awesome. They're about 3-4 deep. But this is where you kind of can settle in a little bit, get the nerves out of you a little bit, and know that you have a big race ahead of you. You got to use that strategy that you've been visualizing for so many months.
Well, I think Hilda went out hard, and then she sort of stepped on the brakes. And when that happens, there can be sort of a pause where everyone says, okay, like, who's in charge now?
Right.
Whose turn is it? And I think that's what we're seeing. We see Amy Bunnage, Australian from Stanford up there. She's a 15:11 performer on the track.
Just came out at regionals and ran. She really didn't have much of a season until this latter part.
Yeah, I had on my notes, where is Amy Bunnage? And then she showed up at regionals and ran superb, and sort of all the suspects that we expected to be there are very much in that front pack. Leah Gerudo, the fine runner, freshman from Oklahoma, is there. We saw Peyton Noe. She said she will bring quite a crowd of friends. Iowa runs for Arkansas, but it's not very far to get from Ames across the Mississippi River and here to Madison to cheer on the Arkansas Razorback.
I think that's Floris Caron, another Canadian, Quebecois, if you will, up there from Penn State on the left of your screen. And then, Peyton Noe in Arkansas on her shoulder.
So in there, you talked about in that first K how you're like, oh, the scores are kind of wonky and who knows what they are. Just a reminder, every team now in this race for the first time can only run 7 runners. And the top 5, where they finish, you add them up, and that's how you get your final score and determine the winner. So 1 through 5 of the scores, 6 and 7 add depth, maybe add some points to other teams if they run well.
Chloe Thomas from UConn right in the center of your screen there. And we saw 3 BYU women packed together, probably in about 30th place. Great positioning. I have to say, this is sort of surprisingly tactical at this point. I would have expected this to be more strung out.
Good view of just how big this field is. Like they run some sizable meets, Nutty Comb, and they ride, pre-nats, or you go to the Loyola Lakeshore and the Crimson. There's big meets, but there's nothing quite like the size of this group that you're in.
This huge group right here, though, it is a nice day to run. We say that it's 35 degrees, but it's not as windy. When you and I ran yesterday, it was very windy in the back stretch, and it's surprising that you don't have to worry about the wind today. I was thinking we were going to have a little bit more early on in this race, but today it seems like wherever you are in this pack, you are okay. It's not too cold and it's not too windy.
That sort of makes it doubly surprising with no wind that it's sort of tactical up front.
Yeah.
But this is something where you really got to remember that the race is not going to be decided till the very, very end. With this, when you're at your conference meet, maybe you can run away from people. At this level of competition, it takes a long time to decide things.
Can I tell you, though, I always think that's one of the great oxymoron in sports. Like, it's a race. You got to get there the fastest you can. Everybody talks about you got to be patient. Like, how am I patient, and yet I'm trying to get there as fast as I can?
Well, that's the thing, is that you run fastest when you are calm and relaxed.
Yep.
Right? So when you see people straining when it looks like they're trying really hard at the beginning, that's not your best move.
Like, look at the woman in the middle of the pack there, Pamela Koskai in the blue kit from New Mexico. She looks so smooth. She knows how to run. She's run the fastest ever on this course right here at the pre-nationals. So, she knows what she's doing.
As you look at that great overhead drone shot again. So now they're going right back up where they were through the finish. They've had a small loop, at the start, right through there, that same line. It's just all the crowd has been allowed to come back in and narrow up that running chute that they're going through another 800 meters as they come around and run across the starting position for the second time.
And NAU is leading at 2K. I mean, we sort of counted them out in our pregame. They had a couple athletes who ran really strong at the beginning of the year, got hurt, missed conference, and didn't look great at regionals, but doubt Mike Smith at your own peril.
Well, he got his main players back when he needed to, right? He said he had a lot of ups and downs this year, kind of personal issues, and I think he said he had like a bike incident or something like that. I mean, it was just like weird things for him, but he said they are here and they are ready and they're healthy.
Good view of Doris Lemngole, her teammate, Brenda Tui, there on the far left.
And we can see 2 Oregon runners up there sort of in the top 15. That's Shalana Yildiz and Maddie Elmore. And then we can see 3 NAU up in probably the top 25. They're wearing this sort of yellow camo. So the top team's doing us a favor wearing the loud colors.
And there you saw all of the Oregon Ducks there. And that's what Shalane said. It's going to be down to the wire, but everyone needs to win their race. They need to be in front of as many people as they can. And I think that's the big thing that we have to talk about. Oregon is coming in with a lot of newbies or athletes that haven't done very well here. And so they have this mentality of just making sure they run their race today. And so I'm not surprised to see all of the Ducks in the back.
Well, Shalane wanted them to establish their position early. I'm not sure they've quite done that, but she also wanted them to be able to see where they want to finish, and we're so tight at this point, that's still the case. So they're back in 8th with 244 points, 88 points behind NAU, but that's not a lot of seconds at this point given how tight the pack is.
Well, this is what I love right now, that grit that Kaylee McCabe has. We can all see what's going on with her, but she is so locked in. She doesn't even know that she has a little something on her chin, but she is such a tough athlete. There's a lot of steeplechasers in the front here, and a lot of people relate steeplechasers to cross country. They're gritty, they're strong, they're speedy, but they have so much that they can use from, and they know the mentality that it takes to be tired, but to be able to get through the end of the races in a steeple. So not surprising to see a lot of our steeplechasers up front.
And she is back after a year. Last year, she redshirted and took time to want to qualify for the Canadian Olympic team and run in Paris and do that, which she was able to do, and now back concentrating fully here on her senior year down in Morgantown.
And I got to imagine that for some of the, say, people we expected to finish 5th through 10th, there's a little bit of like, what's going on? Because I think people expected Hilda or Doris or Pamela Kosgei to sort of take the race by the horns here and really push things, and we still have a huge pack.
Yeah, 3K, that split at 10:09. That's a 2018 if you just went straight doubling it and not account for anybody's fatigue, or actually running a little faster when you come through, and that is not exactly, that is a fairly pedestrian pace for a championship race.
But that is where I think the cold does come in.
They're being patient.
Well, they're being patient, which is huge, right? But when you are cold, it takes a little bit of time to really get going. And also, you have to stay within yourself. You have to stay controlled.
Take a look at the team race right there as we compare NAU and BYU.
And this race is tightening here. It's surprising to see BYU with their 5th behind NAU's 5th. A big name here, just to point out, Maggie Congdon there in 43rd. She was one of those athletes who was top 10 at Notre Dame, got hurt, missed conference, struggled at regionals. So that's a great sign for NAU to see her up there in their top 3.
And right, they're looking for 2 points. They were 1 point shy last year with a great finish and a great a duel with NC State, and they came up just shy. And so they're just, how can we find 2 points? And then if you're the coach, you're like, how about we find 50? Like, it's good. I guess we only have to win by 1, but you're also allowed to win by 1,000,000 if you want to go ahead and try and do that.
That would feel better.
Yeah.
Well, Bunnage up on the left here that in the Stanford kit. We haven't seen her much, as we said, but she is solid. She's a 15:11 gal on the track, and she is someone that I think a lot of people were wondering, where is she? What's she going to do? But she was one of the pre-season favorites for being up top.
Yeah, there are a number of athletes that sort of just appeared at conference or regionals. Elise Stearns from NAU the same way. And we can sort of see the BYU pack there just came through our screen. I'm not sure exactly where that is in the standings. We got 2 of them running there together.
But to your point, Chris, about how, in 2 seconds things can change. So they went through 3K. The top 50 runners were all within 4 seconds of each other.
Yeah, the individual race, I mean, both the individual and the team race still extremely tight. Everything's still up in the air. We haven't seen I expect we'll sort of see a couple of moves in order to decide this individual race. And it's a question for me is who's going to be the first to go. I would have bet on Doris Lemngole, but right now she seems content to sort of sit off of Bunnage's shoulder.
See, I would think Hilda Alamomoy would be the one because she's runner-up for 5 and 10K outdoors last year. I would think she would be the one, maybe at 2K, to start to push.
How many fans do you think have started to press their Strava so they're keeping track of how much they're on them cross from one side to the other, which is the beauty of this course, is you get to see them a couple of times.
As we just saw Pamela Kosgei check her watch, she is chomping at the bit. She is ready to go, and that's what we saw at pre-nationals, and we also saw her all season long. She kind of waited until she could just take off, and then she would blow it wide open.
And while they try to get from point to point, it isn't like on the track where your coach is sitting X and you're going to go around him here. Like, at some point you're on your own. Do I go if I feel good? Because you're just not going to pass your coach that many times. It can just go now.
And Doris is starting to make the move here a little bit. We're stringing it out. We see, I think it's Grace Hartman there from NC State in 5th. She was the 5th runner on that team that won by 1 single point last year, so she knows about running under pressure. And Bunnage is covering the move with the top 3.
Hartman has run great. I'm trying to find where Hannah Gapes is, who had been running so well, won at ACCs, and see where there she is. She's down at 19, so she's right. She's hardly out of it. But now we're stringing them out a little bit better, and with the 3 that we thought were probably going to be there at the top.
We're stringing it out in the individual race, but we're not stringing it out in the team race. We're still extremely tight here. We can see the sort of NAU's 5th is going backwards just a touch, and BYU's 5th is coming on, which could, if that gap keeps closing, we're only going to get tighter from here.
Alabama again in the top 10. They're really strong up front. You wonder if they can, what they can do in the back end. They had one of their better runners suffer from appendicitis, so they lost their number 4 runner before here. Unable to go. Look at the coaches working hard right now.
Well, John, as you're talking about that, I mean, every single coach is saying every day that we get closer, they're just praying not a cold, not an appendicitis, not a spider bite like Tui was talking about on her team. Every day that gets closer to the gun time, they are just thankful that they all got here. It is a tough, long season, and these athletes are doing it, and here we are.
And John, your Mountaineers are not far out of it in third place.
I am watching as they go.
And we know where we think their 5th runner is, there's going to be a lot of people around, a lot of people to pass, a lot of points to get. But it looks like we're sort of separating into a group of 6 here. We have sort of our 3 favorites. Doris Lemngole in the red on the left of your screen. We got Pamela Koskai in that teal in the middle. Hilda Olamomoy right behind them. And then Bunnage, Hartman, and McCabe trying to hang on. Small gap forming there.
New Mexico again breaking out the championship teal, right? That's when they bring out that uniform, that top.
Well, Lemngole suffered her first loss at regionals to Hilda Olamomoy right there in third, and they were teammates last year. This year they're wearing different kits. You know that Doris did not like getting beat at regionals, even though they were right at the line.
And Oregon's top 3 is running amazing. I think I saw their top 3 are in front of BYU's 1. Or at least very close, but their 4-5 must be way back because they are still in 8th place at 4K.
Through 5K, and now we're into the last 1,000, and there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is my math right? I went to a public school. I didn't go to Stanford, but you know, I count 6 right there.
Yeah, and looking at the team scores through 4K, Oregon's 4th and 5th are 86th and 100th in the team score, which is not where they want to be.
Try to reorder them as they come across the 5K timing mat. It's nice. Got every K.
So there's I think 2 NAU. I think that's 3 BYU right there through your screen, and then the 3rd and 4th NAU coming through your screen right here as well.
Good look at Ashley Jones as she goes by from Tennessee with a remarkable woman.
So a key battle to watch right there. We just saw an NAU runner and a BYU runner separated by probably 10 places. That could be the difference at the end of the race.
And if you do the math right, up front, like if you're Kayla McKay with back there with West Virginia, like you can pick up 1 or 2 there, but that's it. If you're in the pack, you can pick up 10, 12, 20 spots, and that's again why the math works out. And 4 and 5 are always the ones that determine what happens.
Absolutely, and it's hard to show that to you. We could sort of slow down and point out all those little battles, but that is where the race is going to be won or lost. But right now, the top 3 we expected from the women's race, broken away up front. Bunnage probably about 10 meters back, running a great race. Go-kart.
Through 5K, BYU 17 ahead of West Virginia, who is 9 ahead of Northern Arizona, who has dropped about 20 points for the last K. And BYU picked up 20 over that last K, but this is the championship K. 5 is great, and everybody with the championship K.
Well, we talked to Mike yesterday, and he said, hey, it doesn't change that much after 4K. This is so tight that in terms of finishing places, maybe the points much, but the order can change.
They are getting close to making that final turn here, where they come up this tiny little hill to the finish line, where that's really good show, and those big 3.
So Brenda Chepchichir, the freshman from Auburn, by. There's Arizona State is a Spartan coach. There's Lemngole has turnover. She comes up the hill. Champ. She has put down the hammer. That looks like a championship move.
I think, as you said, runner last year, she wanted it so bad she dreamed about it. Is so smart. Got a 4. She is doing great things, and we saw her yesterday.
She was old and she was nervous about talking to us. If you don't want to talk after the race, just finish. She's going to have to come because she has put in a great under that hill. Doris Lemngole comes through. She did 1 place 30 years, but the championship place is ended up in 2024. Second, Olamoy third, and finish for her. But great run after being out all season.
Great in fifth, the Wolfpack. Kaylee behind her. Hannah Apes. Wolfpack was doing the 10.
Now we start to be really close to see how runners. There's another West Virginia. Cut.
Oregon is going to have 3 across the line. He's getting second, third, fourth, coming in right. Like they finished really strong. We fifth runner. I still don't think for NAU.
But great morning for running. Women's race just finished up. Take us through it, Carrie. That all-important, really fun start.
Oh, it's the best. You're looking around wondering what everyone else is doing, yet trying to really focus on your own race. But right here, we are looking at the 3 that all of us were talking about, including Kaylee McCabe there in West Virginia. I think that we thought Pamela Koskay would be the one to really push a little bit, but she sat sort of on the shoulder there of Doris Lemngole.
I thought, Chris, a bigger pack for a longer time than we thought.
Absolutely. I think then Doris makes this decisive move. She strings it out, and what's really hard to do is to make the second move off your first move, and she was able to do that beautifully here.
She really did. She really pressed the pace that second 3K and just opened it up. Look at that stride. It is forever, right?
Yeah,
and she looks so good coming up.
Covering a lot of ground when she decided to go. They went through at about 10:08 for the first 3K and coming back, at least for Dolores, 9:13.
Wow.
A much more a brisk like the morning temperature over the last thing. And then last year there was only one person ahead of her. This time there were no peoples ahead of her, and a great shot as they come down.
Wow.
With the delight of all the great fans that are here to cheer her on. And then Pamela Koskay just edging out Hilda Olamomoy, who's had so many good finishes, so many great NCAA finishes. Really would love to see her get a championship at some point. She's just such a great quality runner. There's the women's results, 1 through 10.
Props to Amy Bunnage. I mean, just, you know, getting back in time and then just hammering it today and running great in fourth.
I think surprising to see Lemngole further away from Koskay than Bunnage was to Koskay.
Oh.
Incredible run for Bunnage.
Peyton Noe, Gapes, Thomas, and then Kimberly May for really perhaps the best and most surprising run of the entire championship, which was the Providence women who finished in third. And joining us now, as she did yesterday, is the champion, Doris Lemngole. Last year's second place. How much better does first place feel than second place a year ago?
So good. I'm proud of myself.
Tell us about your race a little bit. Was it to close hard in that second 3K? I mean, you really put the pressure on and just kind of slowly press the gas.
So at my first 3K, I feel like it was so good. I was like,
Hey, Queen.
hey, I got a handle for you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. I'm so proud of you. So good. That's the best.
It's a team sport, right?
It's a family.
So proud of you.
It's a family.
Thank you.
Now, before we were so happily interrupted,
Yeah.
you were saying about your race and when you decided to put on that final move.
So my first 3K was so good. I was with the pace and I saw the 4K. When I crossed the 4K line, I was like, I have to push the pace to just like go my own way, and yeah, I did it.
When we came, Doris, when we came around that final turn, and you can see the finish line, were you feeling good? Did you know you had it, or were you worried that someone was going to come up on your shoulder?
Yeah, I thought someone could pass by my side, but I was so excited that I crossed the finish line by myself. Yeah.
What do you think? You want to run in this weather all the time now since you had such great success?
No, the cold is so, I feel so cold before, but when I start the race, I feel good.
Doris, I got to know, that last 200 meters when you were coming up this final hill and the crowd was going crazy, what was going through your mind?
Oh my, I was so excited, and yeah, I'm so proud of my fans out there. I'm so proud of you all, and thank you for cheering up for me.
You're the best. Give me a roll tide and we'll let you get out of here.
Oh yeah, this for my Bama babes. Roll Tide. I'm proud
There
of
you
you.
go.
Congratulations.
Doris Lemngole always finishes up those championships with the roll tide. And they're the women's champs. We had the individual, but sometimes it takes 7 to bring home the trophy. They ran for her, they ran for each other, and they're the champs. We'll talk with them when we come back. Against Oklahoma, another great day in college football lineup on ABC and ESPN Plus and the SEC. But you know who the morning belongs to? Because, to quote Jim Harbaugh, the team, BYU is the team, followed by West Virginia, Providence, all the way down to Alabama in 10th. There are the ladies from Utah, and here to present them with the championship trophy, Jason Drake, Fresno State, member of the NCAA Track and Field and Cross Country Committee. He's tired of holding that. Give that thing away. The team, to the joy. And if we could, is your head coach standing around anywhere? There she is.
Hi, Diljeet.
Take you in that fabulous hat to the microphone and we can visit with you for a moment. So
Come around me this way.
So you kind of yesterday gave us the whole, we can't get too hung up on the process, or the process of the thing, can't get hung up on the results, but there's no joy like winning. All right, let your joy out and tell me why these girls deserved what they got today.
Well, I'm really proud of these women. They stayed committed to the process. They embraced the imperfect, which is what it takes. In any season, we've had lots of downs, lots of ups, but they ran for each other and figured out a way to fight their own battles and let go of individual success and focus on the team, and that's what cross country is all about. So I'm incredibly humbled and grateful to belong to these women, all 7 of them.
I love it. You know, Diljeet, Lexi we all knew that there were question marks with her. She comes here and finishes the best she has ever done off of a couple weeks of pretty much cross training. How do you get her mentality right on a day like today?
That wasn't me. That was God, and I'm so grateful that He guided us through this, because I don't think my coaching could have done what happened today.
Lexi, get up on that mic. We got to hear what you have to say. What an awesome race today. Congratulations. Tell us about it.
Oh, first of all, I just want to say it feels real good. Yeah, no, like Coach said, and this, for every single individual, we gave up a lot of our individual goals, and we were just completely and utterly committed to the team. And in years past, the commitment to the self has taken away from the team, and we were able to let go of that this year. And by doing that, we not only stepped up for ourselves, but we stepped up for each other, and that's why what happened today, that's why it happened.
Absolutely amazing. And Diljeet, we talked yesterday, you said you could tell how the race was going to go by looking in your team's eyes, looking in their face as they're coming by you. What did you see, say, at 4K when things were really starting to turn for you guys?
I didn't feel good until 4K. I felt like we were really locked in, and at that point I knew that they would be able to close. And following the scores of the race, we got out with urgency, we settled in the middle, and we finished with urgency, and that was kind of the race plan. And I trusted that they would have the fitness to close hard. And mentally at 4K, if you're feeling good, I know physically our training prepares us, and the work that they've done prepared them to be able to close hard.
So you get to celebrate now, but we want to let you go so you can cheer.
Yeah, we want to cheer for our men.
You have put some serious heat on Ed and his guys to come through and see if BYU can double up. The champions for 2024, the BYU Cougars. They do it for her. They do it for each other. They did it for all of us that got to watch, because it was a splendid show. Congratulations, everybody.
Thanks so much.
ladies.
Thanks so much. Thank you.